What if I told you that your bank actually wants you to stay in debt for as long as possible? It's not some wild conspiracy theory. It's literally their business model. For centuries, the entire system of modern finance has been built to do one thing with terrifying efficiency: sell debt. Debt is the most profitable product ever invented. It's the engine that funds governments, drives our consumer culture, and quietly transfers wealth from the majority to a select few. The longer you're caught in their system, making payments month after month, the more money they make. It's a simple, brutal formula. But what if there was a way to break free? In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how this trap is set, why it's designed to keep you on a treadmill of consumption, and the one tool they hope you never ever discover: investing. So, how does this all really work? At its core, a bank's business is simple. They take in your money as deposits, pay you a laughably low interest rate for it, and then lend that same money out to other people at a much, much higher interest rate. The gap between those two rates is called the interest rate spread, and it's where they strike gold. Think about it. The national average savings rate is something insulting, like 0.6% APY. Even if you hunt down a high-yield savings account, you might get 4%, maybe 5% if you're lucky. But what's the rate on the other side of the deal? The average credit card interest rate is still hanging out near historic highs, often between 20% and 25%. New car loans are clocking in at 7% or higher. You don't need a PhD in math to see the staggering difference. You give them your money, and they pay you pennies. You borrow what is essentially your own money back from them, and you pay a fortune for the privilege. This isn't a flaw in the system. This is the system working perfectly. It creates what I call the debt-dependency cycle. As long as you owe them money, you're a profit center. You're a predictable, recurring stream of income. Total household debt in the United States recently climbed to an eye-watering $18.8 trillion. That number includes over $1.28 trillion in credit card debt and over $1.66 trillion in auto loans alone. Every single month, interest payments on that mountain of debt flow from the pockets of regular people straight to the balance sheets of financial giants. They don't want you to pay off your debt quickly. They want you to manage it, roll it over, and stretch it out for as long as possible. Because a person free of debt is a customer they can no longer profit from. So why is it so easy to get a credit card with a $10,000 limit, but so hard to get a small business loan for the same amount? This is where the trap gets personal. Let me tell you a story about a friend of mine. We'll call her Jessica. Jessica had a killer plan for a small manufacturing business. She did her homework, built a solid business plan, and projected she could triple her income in 2 years. She went to her bank, the same one she'd been with for over a decade, and applied for a modest $20,000 startup loan. After weeks of paperwork and getting the runaround, she was denied. The bank said it was too risky. And yet, in the very same week, that same bank mailed her a pre-approved offer for a brand new car loan for up to $40,000. Why? Because banks aren't in the business of funding your independence. They're in the business of funding your consumption. A car loan is clean, predictable, and incredibly profitable for them. It's a loan on a depreciating asset, meaning the car loses value every single day, while you're locked into fixed payments at an interest rate that makes them a tidy profit. A business loan, on the other hand, is a risk to them. If Jessica's business takes off, she becomes financially independent. She stops needing their car loans. She starts building wealth outside their system. She escapes the trap. The bank would much rather have you as a predictable consumer for 30 years than a wealthy, independent business owner in 2. This whole racket is supercharged by the minimum payment trap. Let's say you have a $10,000 credit card balance at a 20% interest rate. The minimum payment might be just 2% of the balance, or $200. Seems manageable, right? But if you only ever make those minimum payments, it could take you over 30 years to clear the debt. And you'd end up paying more than $17,000 in interest alone on a $10,000 purchase. You pay almost double. That is the engine of their profitability. Have you ever felt like you're just making payments, but the balance never seems to budge? Have you ever felt that the whole system is tilted in someone else's favor? If you're tired of playing a game where the rules are rigged against you, make sure you subscribe, because we're about to flip the entire board. So how can they do this? How can they lend out so much money while seeming to take on so little risk? The answer is a concept called fractional reserve banking. And fair warning, what I'm about to tell you will change how you see money forever. When you deposit $1,000 into your bank account, it doesn't just sit in a little vault with your name on it. Since March of 2020, the Federal Reserve has set the reserve requirement to 0%. That's right, zero. In theory, they can lend out the entire amount. But let's use the classic 10% example just to keep the math simple. You deposit $1,000. The bank keeps $100 and lends out $900 to someone else. That person takes the $900 and buys something, and the seller deposits that $900 into their bank. Now, that second bank keeps $90, 10% of the new deposit, and lends out $810. This process repeats over and over and over. Through this money multiplier effect, your initial $1,000 deposit can be used to create nearly $10,000 of new money in the economy, money that exists in the form of debt. The entire system is designed to create new money by creating new loans. This is why they're so eager to lend to you. Every time they extend credit, they are literally creating money out of thin air, which they then get to charge you interest on. You, the original depositor, might earn a few bucks in interest for the year. The banking system, however, just turned your $1,000 into $10,000 of interest-bearing loans. It's the ultimate financial magic trick, and it's happening every single day with trillions of dollars. The system structurally rewards borrowing and penalizes saving. So how do you fight back? How do you escape a system that's fundamentally designed to profit from your dependency? You stop playing their game. You start playing your own. The single most powerful way to break free from the debt dependency cycle is to become an investor. Investing is the polar opposite of being in debt. When you're in debt, your money works for the bank. Every interest payment you make is an expense for you and income for them. When you invest, you flip that script entirely. Your money starts working for you. The historical average return of the S&P 500, which is just a broad snapshot of the stock market, is around 10% per year with dividends. Now compare that to the 20% or more you might be paying on credit card debt, or the sad 0.6% you might be earning in a standard savings account. The difference is absolutely life-changing. When you invest, you're buying a piece of a business, an asset. Instead of paying interest on a depreciating liability, like a car, you own a stake in an appreciating asset that generates its own profit and growth. This is the crucial shift from a mindset of consumption to a mindset of ownership. Wealth isn't built by earning a high salary just so you can have a good credit score to get more loans. True wealth is built by owning assets that grow in value and generate income for you. Investing directly threatens the bank's business model. First, it kills your dependency on them for credit. When you have an investment portfolio, you have your own source of capital for emergencies or big purchases. Second, it pulls your money completely out of their fractional reserve system. A dollar invested in a stock is a dollar that can't be multiplied into $10 of new loans. You are quite literally taking your ball and going home. So, what can you do about it starting today? It's a 3-step process. First, you have to aggressively pay down high interest debt. Treat this like a 5-alarm fire. Every dollar you pay in interest above 7 to 8% is a massive drag on your financial future. Use strategies like the debt snowball, paying off the smallest debts first, for psychological wins, or the debt avalanche, paying off the highest interest debts first to save the most money. Cut expenses, find ways to increase your income, do whatever it takes to get this interest tax out of your life. Second, build a small emergency fund of at least $1,000. This is your buffer. It's what will keep you from grabbing a credit card when an unexpected expense pops up, which is how the debt cycle so often restarts. Third, and this is the game changer, start investing now. Not when you're debt-free, not when you have more money. You can start with as little as $50 a month into a low-cost S&P 500 index fund. The key is to build the habit, automate it, set up an automatic transfer to your investment account for the day after you get paid. So you invest the money before you even have a chance to miss it. This isn't about picking hot stocks or trying to time the market. It's about systematically and consistently moving your money out of their system where it works for them and into your own system where it works for you. The financial system is not designed to make you wealthy. It's designed to make you a predictable customer. It sells debt as an opportunity, the key to a new car, a bigger house, a so-called better lifestyle. But in reality, it's a cage. It might be gilded and comfortable, but it's a cage nonetheless. The monthly payments are the bars. The interest is the lock. But today, you've been given the key. The knowledge that the entire system is built on a cycle of debt dependency is your first step toward freedom. Understanding that your power lies not in earning more to borrow more, but in owning more is the second. The final step is action. Start by paying off that high-interest credit card. Start by opening that investment account. Start moving from a life of consumption to a life of ownership. Break the cycle, reclaim your future, and build a life of true financial freedom.